Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, and today in this video we are going to look at my quarterly performance for the previous quarter, October, November, December. So generally, as you all know, we try to make somewhere around 1.5 to 2% every single month. That means in a quarter we should have at least around 4.5 to 6% as our overall returns. But this quarter we just ended up making close to around 3% only. The reason for this is something which you already know. Previous quarter, I was in a drawdown, and this quarter again, the October month started quite poorly. I ended up making negative 1% in the month of October. Then, slowly and steadily, I started to improve my performance in November by going far OTM. One thing I realized is while I was trying to do short straddles or try trading closer to money, it was not working out well for me, and that's the reason I started trading far OTM strangles, and because of which slowly my performance started to come back. After having negative 1% in the month of October, November and December, I was able to perform quite well, and we overall ended the entire quarter with 3% returns. So I have done a detailed analysis of every single month and also how my performance have been on every single day, in the sense how my Monday performance has been, Tuesday performance has been, and so on. So before we move on to the screen recording and where I show you my P&L, so there is one more important thing which I want to tell you. Generally, people underestimate smaller returns. So whenever you say something like 2% per month, 1.5% per month, so people generally look at it as a very low return. But one thing, if you can actually end up combining your equity returns plus your option returns, because mostly you will be pledging your equity shares and trading options. So overall, if you are able to achieve, let's say, around 27% in a year, say somewhere around 12% with equities, 15% with options. So this is something which is easily achievable, right? So you don't have to take a lot of pressure to make 15% per year without 12% in equity plus 15% in options will give you 27% per year. So if you can consistently trade with this for 3 years, you can be doubling your capital. So with this, if you actually end up trading for 6 years, you will actually end up making 4 times your capital. So if you can continue this performance for a decade, you will end up making almost around 10 times or 11 times your capital. So initially, if you're starting with say 10 lakh, you can easily achieve 1 crore if you just aim at achieving 15% with your options and 12% with your equities in the longer run. So that's the reason, try for small and consistent returns such that there is no mental pressure on you to achieve very high returns. So if you actually try to take a lot of pressure and try to make 4%, 5% a month, you can do it for maybe 3 years, 4 years. By end of third or fourth year, you will actually start to feel exhausted. So this is something which you shouldn't go through. So try to look for smaller gains but consistent gains. This entire year, I am actually up by 35%. In 35%, 14% has come from options and 20% has come from equities. So net, I am up by 35%. I'll be attaching the verified P&L of this quarter and also from the month of April till December in the description below. So make sure you check that out. And you can also go to quickalpha.in and check out our services. So I have also attached the link in the description below. With this, we'll now quickly move on to the screen recording and take a look at the detailed analysis of my previous quarter's performance. Thank you so much. Hi guys, welcome to the screen recording. And now I have opened my Firstock account, which is SR1598. We'll now straight away go to the back office, first look at the P&L and later do a detailed analysis. So once I open the back office right over here, you can see the very first thing is the total account value, which is closer to around 67 lakh. So I started trading in this account with exactly 50 lakh on April 1st, 2023. So new financial year, I began exactly with 50 lakh. That means this financial year, I have made a total gain of closer to around 17 lakh. So partially thanks to equities. So if you see my holding, so almost 10 lakh has come from equity alone and remaining 7 lakh has come from trading options. So this is actually a total return of closer to around 34%, and where I have got closer to around 20% from equities and 14 from options. So you can also see how you can do equity plus options hand in hand and try to achieve above average returns. So once I come to the reports, I will come to the P&L report. And first, I will be showing you the quarterly performance starting from October 1st, 2023 all the way to December 31st. So I will click on F&O and I will click on Submit. So as you can see, this quarter we made a gross profit of closer to around 4%. The performance is not very good. So the performance is actually below average because I try to make at least around 2% a month. So technically we should have at least around 6% of gross profit, but we have lesser than 4% gross profit. And when we come to the net profit, you can see that the net profit has come down to hardly around 2.8 or 2.9%. Overall, I have just made closer to around 3%. So overall, you can also see I have paid closer to around 1% as charges. So what I will also do is share the verified P&L of this particular report. So I'll click on share P&L and I will generate a verified link. So this particular link will be attached in the description, so you can go and check it out. So the next thing what we'll be doing is we will be looking at the deeper analysis of my quarterly performance. So you can see that this is the entire quarter's performance starting from October 1st till December 31st. One more thing is that each month has been shaded differently. So you can see that October month has been shaded gray, November month has been shaded blue, and December month has been shaded yellow. So if we do a deep analysis of my own performance for the quarter, so what we get to see right over here is overall this quarter I traded for 59 days. And in this 59 days, I was profitable for 39 days and I made a loss for 20 days. Almost closer to around 67% of the times, that is 2 out of 3 days, I actually ended up with a profit. So one thing which I could have potentially improved is my overall risk to reward. As you can see, so on an average, I made a profit of 0.25%, whereas on an average, I lost 0.36% when I was losing. So in case if this was closer to around 1, then my profits would have further gone up. So you can see that the average risk to reward is almost around 1 is to 1.4. And this is not a great number considering it's 1 is to 1.4. And not just that, you can also see my overall profit for the quarter is almost around 2.84%. So this I would say is not a great performance, neither a good performance. This is a below average performance. So if you are trading options taking so much risk, at least you should be aiming for 1.5% on a net level. So here I have actually got less than 1% a month, which is actually pretty poor performance. So now if we break down this performance further, so we will go month by month and you get to see in October month, I actually again ended up losing money. So totally I traded for 20 days and this month you can see that neither my probability is good. So half the time I made money, the other half I lost money. So totally I traded for 20 days in October and almost I ended up making money 10 days and lost the money other 10 days. Even though the probability is 50-50, the real catch comes when you take a look at the risk to reward. So the risk to reward is almost around 1 is to 1.63. So you can see that. So I have taken way higher risk compared to my average reward in the month of October. So that can be clearly seen in the performance. So my October month actually ended up in a loss. Now coming to November month. So here I tried to keep things much more slow and steady. So I tried to focus on booking consistent profits rather than going for higher profits. And you get to see clearly how things actually ended up changing. So one is the probability. So here is where I started going far OTM. So in the month of November, I was pretty low on confidence because this was almost my fourth month where I was not able to come out of a drawdown. So that's the reason I try to go as far as possible in terms of OTM. Because I did that, I was also able to increase my probability. So you can see my overall probability for the month of November is almost around 76% with average risk to reward of 1 is to 1. I tried to achieve much better probability in the month of November compared to October. So thanks to me going far OTM. Since I went far OTM, I didn't have to do a lot of adjustments as such. And second one, I also tried to focus on bringing my risk to reward lower to 1 is to 1. So since both worked in my favor, you can see that I actually ended up making almost around 2.61% this month alone. So then coming to the month of November, so here I only traded 18 days. So I was profitable for 66% of the times, and I also made a loss 33% of the time. And here also I tried to maintain an average risk to reward closer to around 1 to 1.1. So this is what I tried to maintain. But what you can see is that even though everything went well, so overall profit was just around 5,000 rupees in the month of December. You can see the entire month of December, maybe up till the second last week. So if you start from here, you can see mostly the weeks were profitable, except the second last week where I ended up losing closer to around 1%. So otherwise, this month again would have been closer to around 1.2 or 1.3% positive. So I actually ended up losing 1% on this particular week alone. So you can see Monday I made 10,000, Tuesday I lost 15, Wednesday I almost ended with no profit, no loss, and again there were consecutive losses. So this 1 week really hurt me. So instead of having it as day 1, day 2, I can simply name it as Monday, Tuesday. So one more thing, when I actually do a simple cumulation, right? So when I end up accumulating all my performances on all the days, one thing which we can clearly see is that my Friday performance has been terrible. So most likely I have lost money every time on Friday, and almost around 2% has been lost only on Fridays. So if you take a look at Monday, so I have made closer to around 1% trading all Mondays, almost around 2% trading all Tuesdays, and again 1% and 1% each by trading Wednesday and Thursday. So here on Friday, I have given up almost around 2%. If I had just avoided trading on Fridays, maybe my performance would have been closer to around 5% positive instead of 3%. So this is my overall analysis for the last quarter. And you can see that last quarter is not very good. So this quarter, I'm hoping to get back to my average of almost around 1.5-2% per month. So the idea seems to be pretty simple. So just focus on this, just focus on getting a consistent return from options. Even as low as 1.5%, 2% is sufficient, because with equities, you can easily compound your money at over 30% if you even have an average performance with options. So all you have to do is try to maintain consistency. So prepare a table like this for yourself. Put down your P&L every single day. So this is net P&L. So I am not even talking about the gross P&L. So this is profit or loss for the day after deducting all brokerage and taxes. So you will get to know a better understanding about your own trades once you end up doing this. So do let me know how your performance was the previous quarter and what you are expecting this particular quarter. So with this, we also come to the end of the video. I hope this video was insightful and informative. If so, don't forget to hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for joining.